Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today let's take a look at the Mezco exclusive 1/12 Collective Silent Screamers Nosferatu, or Count Orlock if you're nasty. Now like I said, this is a Mezco exclusive, but they did an initial drop, and then they put up pre-orders for all the different shirt sizes to come out later in the year. So I'm speculating, that's pure speculation, that's just on my part, I'm just guessing, this might have been one of their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. That's why it was available now, because it was supposed to ship to the show. But it was also a deluxe type packaging where it came with a t-shirt that I wore on the last weekly, and it also came with this film cell type thing. It's a cool little, well actually that's thicker than I thought it'd be. But it's a nifty thing with the figure and the shadow that they used in their stop motion thing that they did for this figure that was amazing. But then it also comes in this lunchbox type 10. You have Orlock here on the front, 20 years of Mezco, Nosferatu 1922, Silent Screamers, 1/12 Collective. On the side, well, okay, let's go to this side first because it's the right side up. Has Orlock standing in the doorway, which I know this is based on the original movie poster. In the movie, him standing in that doorway, I am absolutely scared to look at it. That and the girl sitting in the doorway in Evil Dead 2. Maybe I'm just scared of doorways. But flip around to the other side, and for some reason that image is upside down. It travels around the top and then stops right here, and then this one comes around, travels around to the bottom, stops right there. So I understand the design choice here, but I'm never gonna display it like that on the handle. Anyway, on the back, same picture, same logos. You get a barcode, warnings, here 18 and up, don't put it in your mouth. Open it, and I haven't actually done this yet, so product care guidelines. You have a protective piece of tissue. And then this is essentially what we usually get in a Mezco package, just stuffed in a lunchbox. That's even scary sounding, isn't it? Stuffed in a lunchbox. Oh, coming all apart. There's the bottom tray. And now I have something to take my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to work. But like I just showed, bottom tray has the coffin lid stand, the plastic baggie that I love, the stand arm. Oh, it's a triple tray. It's got the main box of the coffin. And then the figure itself. What am I doing? I know there's a cover to it and I'm trying to reach right through it. Okay, let's go over the stand first because I'll go through the figure, I'll go through the articulation, the accessories and everything, and then completely forget about the stand. It's your standard disc with the logo, and it has a foot peg here, but you can pop this foot peg out, pushing on the bottom, and then you can plug the Mezco arm in. I say it during every Mezco review, these are my favorite stands ever. They're thick, they're tough, they're solid, they're tight. In most instances, it's gonna hold it up in the air. Not a problem at all. But then finally, looking at the figure, it's fairly simple, but at the same time, there's a lot of dynamic stuff going on here. The overcoat, it's long, it hangs below the waist, but it doesn't quite reach the wrist, which is, again, it's a simple thing, but it's subconsciously unnerving because you know, oh, there's something off, but, and then it's tattered and torn at the edges. It's sewn up the middle, you're not gonna be able to open it up, and then at the collar, you know how usually at this scale, the collar doesn't want to lay right? This, well, no, it's separate. You can flip it up if you want to. Now he's hanging out down by the pier. Usually it's a chore to get the collar to lay right at this size, but that works great. Then there's these sculpted hard plastic clasps up the front, and those are, yeah, they're pinned through and they have the ends flattened on the other side, so they're not gonna come out easy. At the legs, it's just a bodysuit, it's tights. And again, it does what it's supposed to. They're long, they're thin, they're skin tight, and it looks odd. And I say odd in the best way possible compared to the age up here. There's just not a lot to them, but that's the point that they were trying to get across. And then we get down to the shoes, which is a stylistic contrast compared to those tights on the legs. You have the sculpted look, lots of wrinkles, some age to it, a paint job on top of it to add some wear and tear. These shoes have seen some miles. Just some slight sculpt work to the soles of them. I think the bodysuit, it's hard to tell. Yeah, it looks like it covers the whole torso. But you get up to the top and there's kind of a scarf look. And I haven't... It looks so good, I don't want to go pulling at it because if I pull it out and can't get it back in, I'm gonna piss myself off. But again, at 1/12 scale, the layers, they don't bunch up. They don't make it too bulky. It keeps that thin, lithe look of the overall figure. The skin has a veiny, pale, dead look to it, and they do paint that all the way up to the elbow. There's a purplish tint to this vein work. At the hands, Oh, and we'll look at more hands here in a minute. It's that same grotesque kind of... Then it fades darker into the fingernails that have just a fantastic paint job on them. But then there is the head. And yes, while it's not based on the actual movie, this is still a very, I was going to say exciting, dynamic. It's an awesome look. This will make you believe in monsters. And the sculpt work puts it over the top, along with the paint job. I feel like there could have been some noodling or modeling just to add to it a bit, but there is shading around the eyes that helps just make them dead, but at the same time it brings it out. Especially since they made the eyeballs themselves shiny and it catches the light just right, and it just reflects tiny dots of light that brings some life to the overall look of it. Pointy ears, the sharp teeth just barely poking out from the mouth. Ooh, I pushed the sleeve up a minute ago and I barely showed the elbow, and it's tough to get a look at it completely, but it is a single hinge and swivel. But at the same time, it does come past 90 a bit because of the thinness, I think. Also, it has the same problems I usually have with a Mezco figure, and that's the ankle. Because of the sculpt of the shoe itself being open on top, it has more range than we usually see with Mezco, but I also have a little bit of looseness there. I think it may be because the tights go down and secure themselves around there, they had to leave some clearance for that. So if the tights work up a bit or thin out slightly, it may add some wiggle to it. Speaking of articulation, there is a dumbbell joint up at the top of the neck, but as you can see, the neck juts forward out of the torso. Putting the head back on, it can go down, but, well, okay, not bad up, and you can always nudge it along by arcing him back a bit. But ooh, the tilt! And then while it doesn't swivel all the way around, again, because it's angled forward, you can look all the way to both sides. The shoulder, without ripping this off and seeing what's under there, feels like just a hinge and swivel. But that works up to there? Oh, I expected it to be up here. The thickness of the jacket makes it look like it's low, but again, that adds to the creepy factor. Swivels around to about right there before the material bunches up. Doesn't feel like there's a bicep swivel, but again, elbow, single hinge, and then that swivels. Good range on the swivel hinge swivel of the wrist, but again, you can make that go sideways, any direction you want to go, really. The torso is a bit of a mystery. It's locked inside this jacket, but it seems like there's a ball joint mid-torso and then a ball joint at the waist. And that'll get you here and then on down. Not bad at all. Then that arcs back. I've noticed the material wearing a bit already after the poses I've put it through. I don't see that as a bad thing. In fact, it makes it more unique figure to figure because this is my amount of wear. This is how much I move the figure around. And it being a monster figure and age is a vampire, he's been around for a long time, I don't mind the jacket showing more wear. The hip kicks forward, back, out. Better than Spider-Man. There's this swivel at the thigh. Is there a double knee? It comes up. Oh, yeah, easy. Kicking his undead ass. And then a ball joint down at the ankle goes back a bit, forward, and then some rocker. For accessories, Orlock comes with a pair of open, kind of relaxed hands. Comes with a pair of gnarled up attack hands. An alternate right hand that I'm calling the pointer finger. It can hold stuff, but it just looks like it's come here. And then a left hand that's open, but I use this as the grip hand. And again, I always say this, Mezco has perfected the art of the swappable hand. You think, oh, those fingers are thin, I'm going to break them off, but there's a rubberiness to it that helps pop the hands off and on. Put the other hand on, not a problem. I never have any worries with this setup. For heads, in the package he comes with a bit of a, yes, you know I'm a monster of some kind, but here's my little teeth sticking out. But there's also a head not showing those teeth. More calm, more collected. He's stalking his prey. He doesn't need to be scary yet. Ugh, yes. And then, of course, there's the open mouth, teeth showing, angry-eyed, gonna suck your blood face. And like the hands, the head being a soft material makes popping the head off a breeze. Same thing with the head going on. It pops, it stays on, it feels secure. It doesn't get any better than this. Other accessories include a stylish hat. I'm kind of jealous. I want one of these. I don't know if he's going out on the town or he's going to bed. And the hat has a sculpted shape that fits the head only one way. If you try to put it on backwards or sideways, it doesn't go on. But as soon as you find that sweet spot, boop, it's on there. I thought it would just be a sitting on top of the head thing, but no. It's not a lock, it's not a snap, it's just snug. He also has a very beautiful, ornate looking lamp he can carry around. It's got a stained glass look to it and a patina to the metal, again, for that aged look. This guy's been around for a while. And then the handle is actually hooked on there, so it moves around just like, oh, Oh, I guess you don't want to get too crazy with it. It can come off the hook, but I'm not worried about it breaking or anything. He also has a set of plastic keys on is it a metal ring? Yeah, it seems to be a metal ring, which means it's going to be secure. But it's a nice assortment of different keys. He can either unlock doors with these, or babies can play with these for hours. Give me my keys back, infant. He comes with 6 individual rats, and I thought it may have been where a couple of them are the same, but all 6 seem to be their own individual sculpt. And they're all this same dark brownish color except for Ralphie here. He seems to be begging for scraps or something, I don't know. But those rats can be used in conjunction with the diorama-esque coffin. First the lid, if I didn't know any better, I would have thought it was wood. They did a great job of replicating that grain look to it and then throwing some wash on it to bring out the details, to add some age to it. And I keep saying that during this review, add some age to it, but again, that was the whole point of making a vampire figure. If it doesn't look aged, it doesn't look right. And even on the inside, you can see the cross beams to hold the planks together. But then for the body of the coffin itself, that same great wood texture on the outside, but once you get inside, there's some dirt from his homeland, I guess, and even it has an infestation of rats. The same sculpt as we see with the individual rats, but those don't come out. But I don't even care because you get those separate rats. Ugh. Putting Orlock in the coffin, lots of room, not a problem, except his feet are long and pointy, so you have to put them together and put them between the one rat and the set of rats over here. Otherwise, it'll hold the lid up. The planks on the lid have a gap right there to where you can fit it on here. It doesn't snap, it doesn't stay, it just kind of lays. So if you stand it up, of course. Also remember the crack in the lid, you can have Orlock, well, he's too far down. You can have him kind of peeking out. And that is so creepy right there. I'm tempted to display it like this, but that's essentially a head and a coffin. The rest of the figure gets lost in the display. Also, with the coffin standing up, it looks odd because the rats look like they're defying gravity. So this is meant to lay down. And then final accessory to keep all the heads and hands and everything together if you don't keep them in the actual package itself. It comes with a Ziploc bag branded with the 112 logo. You can take a marker, write Orlock on here in case you get confused about a bag full of rats and vampire heads. Boop, boop, boop. I mentioned the looseness of the ankles a minute ago, but because of the size of the feet compared to the figure, it's not a huge deal to get him standing up. Scale-wise, he stands at about 6.5 inches up to the top of his head, which works well with other 112th Collective figures. Here's Buren Ben's. He just has that classic look to him. And then the 112th Collective Frankenstein. Body size looks good, but it's the head. I know this is how this looked, this is how this looked, but the head sizes throw me off scale-wise. But they'll make a kick-ass monster display. Compared to other superhero top figures in the 112th Collective line like Deadpool and Batman, the head size, again, throws it off a bit, but I wouldn't stop him from stalking Batman in the night. And then here he is with Dracula, Werewolf, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. So at the end of the day, what a fun figure. And that's what this whole hobby comes down to. Truthfully, I didn't know I wanted a figure of Nosferatu, and even when they showed the initial picture, I thought, okay, do I need this? But the more I looked at it, the more I knew I absolutely needed it. The accessories are cool, the add-ons, the hat, I don't know. You can go from full-on monster into suave, debonair monster, I guess you could say. There's an overall simplicity, but that just helps emphasize the head and the hands and just ups the creep factor. You don't want to run into this guy in a dark alley. So yeah, I'm completely happy that I ordered this. If I had passed and then saw the pictures I've been seeing lately, people are knocking this out of the park, or D-Amazing's review, I would have been super disappointed that I didn't grab it when I could. Again, it not being on my wish list at all, but after I secured this and it's shipped and everything, I watched parts and pieces of the original movie, and that's some scary shit. I had seen pictures before and scenes, but actually sitting and turning the lights off and kind of getting into it, ooh, yeah. I still want a movie accurate figure, but this will do me until then. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you want to see videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. I don't know why I keep getting the urge to call this a surfboard. Does it go there? I don't know anything about surfing. Whoosh.